Hello, everyone. We're back with Ken Dombrowski, executive life coach and master hypnotist. And today I think we should talk about what keeps attracting, maybe the wrong person for someone, but, the same kind of person over and over again from a subconscious standpoint.
Well, there's going to be a few different possibilities there. You got subconscious, you got habits, you have familiar, you have a lot going on. But if we just talk strictly subconscious for this one, the subconscious of each individual is formulated throughout, a whole bunch of different factors of life are impacting not just, we take it deeper than subconscious. Let's actually even look at it like our identity. So when someone has an identity that just is what it is, which we all have, it does not really mean right or wrong. It just means it is. So if someone's identity on their subconscious level is that I deserve to be with a certain kind of person. Like say, I'm constantly dating narcissists who are abusive and mean to me, or I'm constantly dating drug addicts, or I'm constantly dating alcoholics, and I don't want to do that anymore. See, not wanting to is a conscious mind effort where it's not going to do anything to change your subconscious programming. Your subconscious programming compels your behavior. And it's also what goes out as the law of attraction to attract to you whatever it is that it dictates as your identity. So if you can imagine trying to break that pattern of identity, you need to actually leave a part of yourself behind. And most people are not capable or willing to do that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it's very, very true. Like the amount of women, especially that I talk to, that are repeatedly in the same kind of abusive relationship, whether that be physical, mental, emotional, verbal, whatever it is, they can't get out of the circle that they're in because they just refuse to leave it. And it sounds crazy, but it's a lot harder than it is because working with the subconscious is quite difficult. The reason that we do the amount of sessions we do with most people is because you're literally retraining the part of your mind that is making you believe that this is what you deserve and this is what you should take in and whatever it may be, because you can consciously hate it, but you subconsciously can't get out of it.
All great points. And that retraining, or I kind of like also to call it reconditioning of how your subconscious mind works, and what it's wanting, what it's needing, what it believes to be true. Here again, we have to remember this over and over and over. I can't say this enough. Your subconscious mind doesn't care about making you happy. Happy has nothing to do with it. That's a conscious mind construct. That's basically you're in your physical world, your physical realm. Your subconscious is directly connected to your spiritual realm. It does not care about happy, not at all. It cares about one thing only, survival. And so whatever it believes is true to your survival, that's what it means. That's what it needs. That's what it's going to do. Doesn't care about what you want. So why would someone have an identity? Well, there's going to be thousands, millions of reasons why someone would have this identity. Mostly going to be environmental driven factors, as when they were a child, how they were raised, the environment they were raised in, what we call the constitution of that person, who they were when they came out of the womb. We're already formulated long before we were born. We're starting to formulate who we are, and that's going to take you in those directions. So you look at subconscious. How do we change it? You can change it through trauma. Well, you can't tell where it's going to take you.
Right.
Trauma could usually going to make you feel much, much worse about things, go in a more negative way. The only other way to make those changes is hypnosis. The only way known in mental health sciences today to affect change, proper change in the subconscious programming, is hypnosis.
Yeah, I think it's that's a good point, because while you were talking, I was having the same thought. Like, people end up in the same situations that they experienced as a child. So, like, you're probably going to end up dating someone with a drug problem if you had a parent with a drug problem. You're going to end up dating a narcissist if you had a narcissistic parent or a friend, a sibling, whatever it may be, because that's what you've conditioned yourself to understand as love, as affection, or you're just used to it because then there's the whole I can handle this and I can also help them at the same same time. So then you just end up in the same cycle of thinking you found somebody new, and then lo and behold, it's the same kind of person you've been dealing with this entire time, because it's what you know how to deal with. And that's the other hard part. It's what you know, so it's kind of what you stick to.
And all of this comes down to so many different factors of how that subconscious works. And this is where it becomes really funny. I'm a professional life coach who I do not emphasize the need for goals. Goals are garbage. Goals do not just suddenly happen because you want them badly enough. A person can reach a goal and then shortly after it falls completely apart, because they're going back to their original default program. So you can ramp up all kinds of willpower. See, willpower is temporary. Willpower will always have an expiration date, guaranteed. That's a promise from me to you. So how do we make change, lasting change in our life? You know what? Few things. One I learned once from a great doctor. I love listening to Dr. Drew Pensky, known as Dr. Drew. Most people might be familiar with him. Are you familiar with him?
Yes.
Tall, handsome man, white hair, glasses. Super great guy. I love this guy's stuff. He spent so much time, like over 30 years now, in mental health sciences, mostly when it comes to addiction. And one thing that I watched out of many of his episodes came down to key. He said, one thing that when we have had drug addicts who are in rehab again and again, and they relapse and they back and forth, and then they finally got over it. What was the thing? Disgust. They became so disgusted with themselves. Now, they're walking around thinking how much they hate themselves because they're a drug addict. But thorough and absolute disgust, that's a form of hypnosis, that they finally got to their subconscious core and changed their identity, and then they were able to go on and live a healthy life. And I like how he said it. He said you can be, a person can be like a drug addict. You look in the mirror, you know what you're going to see when you look in the mirror, because you've seen, it's your bathroom, you go in here every day, look in that mirror, look at yourself. So your mind is already filling in the picture. However, if you see yourself in a reflection like of a storefront glass, or walking through a store of some type and there's just a mirror where you didn't expect it, and you see yourself completely different in that moment, and you don't like what you see, that's a form of disgust that is self-hypnotic and traumatizing, but it's in a good way to where that person can leave it behind now.
That's interesting. I don't think we've even ever discussed that. And that's a good point, though, because that's a powerful enough emotion to like make you want to change something. And I feel like that registers deeper than just surface level. Because, like, yeah, of course, an addict or whoever it may be is like, oh, yeah, I'm doing something bad. I shouldn't be doing this. I wish I wasn't doing this. But there needs to be a certain level of, like, rock bottom for it to happen. And disgust is a part of that.
Well, when you think about, and I know we're really kind of beating the drum on addiction right now, but kind of helps illustrate a point. So that's why we do these things called interventions. An intervention is meant to be massively disturbing to where a person who has some kind of an addiction, drug or alcohol or what have you, that all their family and friends are going to gather together and really help that person understand, like jar them into an understanding that there's something so wrong. We're not going to act like everything's okay anymore. We're going to smash you upside the head with it. Now, every time you ever watch an intervention or be part of one, they can become very ugly. You know, people yell and swear and cry and all this kind of stuff. And the person, who's the intervention is for, the first thing they want to do is leave. They just want to get away. They don't need to escape, because they don't want to hear this. But when they hear it, it is both traumatizing and hypnotic at the same time, because they're seeing themselves in another light.
I feel like it also goes both ways in that situation, because like the people who are showing up to the intervention for the person who it's for, I guess. It's hard to word. But the people showing up for said person are having the problem of being attracted to that kind of person. And then the person who the intervention's for, they're attracted to the type of person that's going to help them and kind of let it be okay that they have this problem. Because that's one of the biggest issues is most people who are in addiction are surrounded by people that unknowingly are aiding that addiction.
Oh, yeah.
They don't realize that their actions are helping someone continue to have that addiction. So attracting the same kind of person really does go both ways, because they're trying to find someone that will let it be okay that they're an addict or a narcissist or whatever it may be. And then the other person on the other end of that is also attracting the type of person that has these faults that need a lot of fixing.
All great ways to look at it, absolutely. We're just attracted, and that attraction is on a core level of identity, of subconsciousness, all stuff that you don't have direct access to consciously. And you're conscious, you can think about it all day long. You can put up affirmations all day long. So we get lots and lots of people coming, well, I did this program, it didn't seem to work, and I went to therapy for 20 years and it didn't seem to help, and I did this, and I did all these affirmations, and I went to this program, and I did this seminar, and I spent thousands of dollars on this, that, and the other thing, and none of it seemed to really help. Right, it's not going to. And actually, the sad thing is, with a lot of these, life coaches that you see online or wherever, especially the more famous ones, I'm going to sound like a real jerk right now, but they're not meant to help you. They're meant to keep you stuck, but relying on them for help, so you'll keep paying them money. And I've said this so many times, there's only one life coach that I actually look up to and admire. Only one, and that's Tony Robbins. Every time I watch Tony Robbins' videos, listen to his talks, I agree with about 98 to 99% of everything he says and does, because he's honest. He doesn't make promises that, if you just do this every day for 30 days, your life will change. No, he doesn't do any of that garbage. He tells you life is going to be hard, it's going to suck, you have to put in the effort, you have to want it, you have to make change and then nurture change and then build. See, he tells you how it has to be done. So that's kind of how we work here in our office too.
Yeah, and I mean, I think another thing, at least from what I've seen from Tony Robbins, is he's not really stressing setting goals and goal achievement. Don't get me wrong, that's something that'll naturally be part of the process, but it's really not our focus. Mm-hmm. Like, of course, people are always going to have goals in the back of their mind, but we're not just like specifically like, so what goal do you have today? What goal needs to be achieved in the next year? Mm-hmm. It doesn't really work based on that.
So we think this whole conversation, one of the most common phone calls we get is to quit smoking, mm-hmm. right? You take the calls, so Lauren monitors this stuff very closely. Well, people, they really kind of get this thought in their head that, if I can just get hypnotized, it's like flipping a switch and I won't smoke anymore. Well, not necessarily. If someone is just strictly a habit smoker, then yeah, that's something that we can deal with usually very quick and easy in one session. However, as soon as you start adding emotions and stress into the life as to why someone is smoking, now your identity is a person who smokes whenever there's any kind of an issue going on. And guess what? Your mind is going to constantly attract more issues so you can smoke more. So we have to give up and break that cycle and give up that identity, and that's not going to happen in one session.
Right. So this doesn't even just boil down to attracting other people. It's also attracting the circumstances and situations that you want that allow you to continue doing the things that you're doing, whether they be positive or negative. Usually they lean negative because that just seems to be default, is it's always easier to lean negative than it is to stay positive. But yeah, I mean, like you said, not only are you going to attract negative issues, you're probably going to attract people that help you smoke because it's someone to smoke with. And what do you do when you smoke? Talk about your problems. So it really is just kind of this full circle situation where you do need a mind reconditioning, and that's why the subconscious comes into play, because you need to attract something different, and that's really hard to learn at first, or hard to accept and hard to put into practice. So that's really what comes into work there, is needing sessions for things like that.
Yeah, there you go. Another good conversation today.
Yep, I covered a little more topic than I was expecting, but it was really good. So thank you for all that information.
Oh, my pleasure.
If you need help attracting the right people or the right circumstances, please visit our website or give us a call today. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.